morning students and welcome back. So in the previous class we were discussing about the pollination, that is the process of transfer of pollen grains from anther to the stigma. Okay, and this pollination may be either self pollination or cross pollination. Okay, so that is a transfer of this pollen grains from anther to stigma of the same flower, that is a self pollination, whereas the transfer of pollen grains from anther to stigma, okay, of from one flower to the another flower, okay, so that is a cross pollination. Okay, so and that is what we discussed in the previous class, and after that even we were discussing about the agents of pollination, that is the pollination require some mediators or some agents to take place, isn't it? It cannot take place on its own. So these mediators are known as this pollinating or pollination agents, pollinating agents. Okay, and these pollinating agents are mainly of two types. One is biotic agents and another one is abiotic agents. Okay, in the abiotic agents we have this wind, water, okay, which play an important role in bringing or this pollination to occur, isn't it? And yesterday we discussed in the previous class about this pollination by wind. Okay, so here the what happens, there are certain characteristics, okay, to be there for this pollination to occur. Okay, that the pollen grains should produce in large number so that it can ensure the pollination, because lots of pollen grains are lost in the process of carrying by the wind. So for that purpose it is required to produce a large number of this pollen grains so that one can ensure the pollination. Okay, and they should be sticky in nature so that they can stick to the pollinating agents back. Okay, they can come and sit on the stigma surface. Okay, and another thing is that these are the few characters of this pollinating agents, okay, by winds. And the next we will discuss about the pollination by water. So next we will discuss about the pollination by this water, that is another abiotic agent. Okay, you see it is very rare of this pollination to take by water. It is very rare. Rare means very less chances, very less of pollination takes place by water, and that too it is limited to only 30 genera. Okay, 30 genera of the flowering plants, so that the pollination by wind takes place, by this water takes place in a very, what is that, less, okay, in a lesser way, in a very less quantity, this pollination takes place by water. And examples for this water pollination are this Vallisneria and Hydrilla. Okay, these are the plants in which the pollination takes place by water. Okay, and in majority of the another thing, the next point or the next thing about this pollination by water is that in majority of the aquatic plants, okay, in the majority of the aquatic plants such as water hyacinth, that is the terror of Bengal, and the water lily, okay, flowers emerge or they come out of the water level, above the water level. The flowers emerge above the water level and they are pollinated by insect and wind. So, in the majority of the aquatic these plants such as water hyacinth, that is a terror of Bengal, and that of this water lily, the flowers emerge or they come out of the water level, okay, and after that they are pollinated by the insect and what is that, wind, okay. So this is what happens in the majority of the aquatic plants, okay. They are pollinated by this wind and insect. So that is why the water pollination is very rare and it is limited or restricted to only 30 genera of the flowering plants, okay. And next, let us see how this pollination takes place in case of this aquatic plant, that is Vallisneria. Okay, it is important and it will be asked in the exam. So, okay, focus on it. So, in case of this Vallisneria, that is an aquatic plant, how pollination takes place by water is that here the female flower, it reaches the surface of the water. In case of this Vallisneria, that is an aquatic plant, the female flower will reach the water surface. How it reaches the surface of water is that by its long stalk. Usually this Vallisneria, that is an aquatic plant, having a long coiled stalk. Okay, during the pollination, what happens? It will uncoil its long stalk and it will come to the water surface. Okay, and then what happens? The male flowers are cut and they reach to the surface of the water, and then what happens? Pollen grains are released and they are carried by the water and reach this female flower and ultimately stigma, and pollination takes place. Okay, so the male flowers and pollen grains, they are released on the surface of water, okay, which are carried by the water and reach the female flower and automatically stigma. So thereby pollination takes place in case of this Vallisneria plant. Okay, remember this. Okay. And pollination by, so this is all about the pollination by water, that is pollination by water is very rare and it is restricted to only 30 genera of flowering plants, and examples are Vallisneria and that of this Hydrilla. And in a majority of the aquatic flowering plants such as water hyacinth and that of this water lily, the flowers they emerge or they come to the above level of this above the water level, and then they are pollinated by wind and insect. So that is one thing. And in case of this Vallisneria, that is an aquatic plant, okay, in which the female flowers will come to the above the surface of the water by its long what is that stalk, okay. Usually it is having a long coiled stalk, but during the what is that pollination, what happens, this coiled long stalk becomes uncoiled, that means it opens and it will come to the surface of water, and meantime the water male flowers are cut, and they will move to the water surface, and the pollen grains are released and which are carried by the water, and they reach the female flower and stigma, and pollination takes place. So this is all about pollination by water. Next, pollination by animals. As we have already discussed this, here the biotic agents among the animals, insects, particularly honeybees, are a major biotic pollinating agents. Okay, among the animals, insects, and that too in the insect, these honeybees are the major biotic agents, pollinating agents. Okay, as we all know that this honeybees, they play very important role in pollination, and thereby enhancing the better yield or ensuring the better yield of crops, that we know very well. Okay, so and even in larger animals, okay, such as the lemurs, that is the primates, and the arboreal, that is the tree dwelling rodents. Tree dwelling, tree means tree and dwelling means one stay, okay. ಡ್ವೆಲ್ ಅಂದರೆ ವಾಸ ಮಾಡೋದು, ಟ್ರೀ ಡ್ವೆಲ್ಲಿಂಗ್ ಅಂತಂದರೆ ಆ ಮರದಲ್ಲಿ ವಾಸ ಮಾಡತಕ್ಕಂಥ ಈ ರೋಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಏನಿದೆ, ದೇ ಆಲ್ಸೋ ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ಅಪಾರ್ಟ್ ಫ್ರಮ್ ದ್ಯಾಟ್ ದ reptiles, okay, are also the pollinators, okay. Among the animals, apart from these insects, that is honeybees, this what is that other larger animals such as lemur, that is primates, and that of what is that arboreal, that is the tree dwelling rodents, okay, the one which stay in the trees, and reptiles are also involved or reported as a biotic pollinators, okay. And after that, this in majority of the flowering, in majority of insect pollinated flowers, in majority of this insect pollinated flowers, they are, you see, large, colorful, fragrant, and rich in nectar, you see. In case of this large, what is that, insect pollinated flowers, they are large in size, they are bright in color, and they are what is that, having fragrance, that means they are having smell, and another thing is that they are rich in the nectar. This we know already, we have discussed that, because these insect pollinating flowers are large and having nectar, having fragrant, that is a smell, and also they are rich with the nectar. This is because they can attract the insects, okay. And another thing, this nectar and pollen grains are the rewards. nectar ಏನು ಮಧು ಅಂತ ನಾವು ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, ಹನಿ ಬೀಸ್ ದೇ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ನೆಕ್ಟರ್, ಯೂಶಲಿ ಇನ್ಸೆಕ್ಟ್ ದೇ ಕಲೆಕ್ಟ್ ನೆಕ್ಟರ್, ನಾವು ಮಧು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ ಅದು. ಓಕೆ, ನೆಕ್ಟರ್ ಫ್ರಾಮ್ ದ ದಿಸ್ ಫ್ಲವರ್ಸ್. ಓಕೆ, that and pollen grains. Okay, these nectar and these pollen grains are the normal or usual rewards or benefit to the this to the animals for achieving pollination or for performing pollination. Okay, and other rewards or benefit for this pollinating agents is that providing the safe place to lay the eggs. You see, providing safe place for what purpose? To lay the egg. That is another reward. Okay, to the that pollinating agents. Okay, let us consider examples for this. Example is this Amorphophallus flower, which is the largest flower known. That is, it is of about 6 feet height. Remember this. This will be asked in the exam. Okay, that is a Amorphophallus. This flower, which provides the safe place to lay the eggs of these pollinating agents. So that is one reward from the flower to the pollinating agent. Okay, and another example is that moth and yucca plant. Moth and this yucca plants, they have also such a relationship. That means this yucca plant, it provides safe place to the moth to lay the eggs. Okay, so that it can protect or safely produce its offspring. Okay, and this moth and yucca plant, these moths, they lay their egg in the locule, that is empty space in the ovary. Okay, and that develops into the new moth. So this moth and yucca plant are having such a relationship that the plant will provide a safe place, and in turn this moth, by way of in the process to lay its egg in this locule or in the ovary, it will pollinate. Okay, so both are benefited here, and they cannot complete their life cycle without each other. So that is how that is another reward from flowers to the pollinating agents. Okay, to provide the safe place to lay the eggs. Okay, so this is all about the pollination and pollinating agents, that is biotic and abiotic. So we conclude here and continue tomorrow. Thank you.